Hello! Today we're going to be learning how to remember our key signatures. We're going to be doing this using the circle of fifths and the circle of fourths. And we're going to be starting with our flat keys. Now, this is the order of flats, which is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Now what this is the order it appears on a staff, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. What this also tells us is how to find our key signatures. For example, if you wanted to find the key signature of B flat, all of these have implied flats, then you would go to that flat and add one more. So in the key of B flat there are two flats, B flat and E flat. Following that same line of thought, if we wanted to know how many flats were in the key of D flat major, we go to that one in the order and one more. So in D flat there are 5 flats, B, E, A, D, and G flat. So continuing with the inverse of that, if you needed to know what key signature had 3 flats, you would go to that third flat and then go back one. So the key of E flat has B flat, E flat, and A flat in it. So if you needed to know what key signature had 6 flats in it, you would go to the 6th flat, which is C flat, and go back one to G flat. So the key of G flat has 6 flats in it. So now let's talk about the sharp keys. Here you have a different order, but if you'll realize it's actually backwards compared to the order of flats. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. How I remember these is through an acronym. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds. Now, just like with the flats, this shows you the order they appear on a staff. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. So, how we use this is, if you wanted to know the number of sharps in the key of D major, you would go to D in your order and you would count back 2 in the order, meaning that C sharp is the last sharp in the key of D major. And it implies that the ones before it are also in it. So D major has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. If you wanted to know what key signature, how many sharps were in the key signature of E major, you would go to E in your order, count back 2, and it's these 4 sharps. So now, the inverse of that would be, what key signature has 3 sharps? You find the 3rd sharp in the order, and you count up 2. And it's A. A major has these 3 sharps. Now what key signature has 6 sharps? This is where it gets a little strange. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now you would follow the same line of thought and you would go forward 2, which is 1, 2, which would leave you with nothing. But this is not just an order, this is the circle of fifths, meaning that this goes back to the beginning, but now makes it sharp. Which means that 6 sharps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is the key of F sharp. So now we're going to go back and we're going to do which uses the same order, but mixes it around a little bit. We're going to start with the flats. What you're going to do is draw a line between D and G. Now the purpose of this is that the ones on the right side of the line are going to shift to the front. Now remember, whenever you see a lowercase, that means minor. Uppercase means major. So you've put these 3 to the front. What do you do with these 4? If they stick to the same order, they just go on the end. B, E, A, and D. Now, one other purpose for this line is the ones that move to the front stay the same. These 3 stay the same. But the ones that are on the left side of the line all get flats. You'll have to excuse my poor handwriting. Now, the purpose of this is that this shows you the relative minors, meaning that in the key of B flat, I'm going to write the flats now, because now we're talking about the keys more than we are talking about the orders. Here, as I said, shows you the relative minors. So the key of B flat has two flats, B flat and E flat. Well, right below B flat is G, and G minor has the same key signature as B flats, which is 2. So if you were going to find the key signature for B flat minor, you would look up, and it's the same thing as the key signature of D flat major, which is, as we remember, 5 flats. So how sharps work is going to be very similar. You find, as we did here in flats, the D and the G, you draw a line right there between them. And the ones on the right get moved to the front, and we remember that we make these all lowercase since these are now minor. And the ones on the left stay in the same order, and they get put in the back. Now, the ones that were right here get sharps in the new order, which is the same as what happened here with the flats. Now, the only difference here is that because, if you remember, we put these flats on afterward in major, because we were talking about the key signatures in the top line and no longer talking about the order. We're going to do the same thing here, but we're only going to do it with the first 2. And because we sharp these 2 up here, we also sharp the 2 down below it. Now what this tells us, just the same way as it tells us in major, is the parallel minors. So, in G major, if we wanted to find out how many sharps, we would go back 2 in the order. So now we know that E minor has the same key signature as G major, which means E minor has 1 sharp, which is F. Now, if we wanted to figure out how many sharps are in here, F sharp minor, we would just look up to the one right above it in the order, to A. And A has, as we know, 3 sharps. So F sharp minor has 3 sharps. And it works the same way with all of these. Now the reason that we sharped these, which seems a little unnecessary, is because, as we talked about earlier, with this being a circle and not just an order, if you wanted to know how many sharps were in A sharp minor here, you would look up to C sharp major. And as you remember, you go back 2. 1, reset in the order, 2. So C sharp major actually has all 7 sharps in it. And A sharp minor is the same thing. It's a reflection of that. And we follow the same rule for D sharp minor. We look up here to F sharp major, go back 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. D sharp minor has 6. The inverse of this follows the same rule as it does when we're talking about major. If you wanted to know what key signature has 4 sharps, you would go to the 4th one in the order of minors and count 2 more. 1, 2. So C sharp minor has 4 sharps in it, the same way that E major has 4 sharps in it. Now, bear in mind that this does not change the order of the sharps. In C sharp minor, you are still going to have these 4 sharps: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. I also have a little graph here that I showed earlier, but if we zoom in on the bottom, then we can look here add. These are the sharps, the order of sharps. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds. And these are the major key signatures, and it filled them in as they go. And now across from all the major key signatures are the minor key signatures. And we have the same thing here for the flats. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a nice day.